Good evening. Simplicity, Recipe, Linda, Miriam, Cyril, Oba, God's gift. How are you? Good evening, Makwa. How are you? So, just maybe a few more minutes or a few more seconds, I would take off. Amarachi Maureen, how you doing? I hope you guys can hear me. It's going to be another short, brief, simplified session. And the idea is to discuss events and terms that related to female reproductive system. So when we get a grip of them, if we understand what they are, then subsequently, when we discuss other conditions, then it will be very easy for you to understand what I mean, what I'll be talking about. So I think, not wasting time, I think I should just kick off, since I'm still going to share this video and then people can watch. My name is Dr. Chain Akano. Today we shall be discussing the female reproductive system and certain events that related to them, and also some things that are related to the man that has some bearing with the woman. So let's start generally by describing female reproductive organ. I have a diagram here that I would like to show you guys that simplifies that. Then I will explain it. I got it here. So this is the diagram of the female reproductive system. So below here, I don't know whether you can see the labeling, but if you can't see, from here, the vagina to the opening into the womb, which is called cervix. This is the womb here, uterus, and then this thing that's like a tube is called fallopian tube. We have the left and the right, and on top of it you can see this thing like a knot there. That's your ovary, left and right. So we have left ovary, left fallopian tube, right fallopian tube, one womb, one vagina, and one cervix. So this is basically the female reproductive organ. These are the important organs that are necessary for reproduction in a woman. So that's it. I hope it's very clear. So I will be making reference to different parts of these reproductive organs while I go along. So when you hear your menstrual cycle, we're talking about your period here. So your menstrual cycle is that day, that cycle starting from the day you started bleeding in that month to when the next bleeding starts. So the day the bleeding started, the day your period started, till the day the next one started, that's your menstrual cycle. Some people's menstrual cycle is 28 days, some are 30, some are irregular, all over the shop. So that's your menstrual cycle. From the day you bled today to the next time you're bleeding, maybe towards the end of the month or whenever your 28-day cycle is, or 30 or 32 or whatever. So that's your menstrual cycle. From the day you bled to the next day you're going to bleed. And when there's something we call LMP, last menstrual period. Last menstrual period. So when you're asked, what's your LMP? Your LMP is the first day of the bleeding in that cycle. So if assuming your period started today, being the 21st of August 2022. So if you're asked what's your last menstrual period, it is 22nd of August. It is not the day the period stopped, it is the day the period started. I'm not talking about menarche. Menarche is when someone developed to the age or stage of starting to see period. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about someone who's already seen their period. So the day your period started in any cycle is called your last menstrual period. So that's what LMP is. So the next thing we want to talk about is ovulation. So looking at this, so this is your ovary, this is your ovary. So ovulation is that process whereby this ovary, either of them, releases egg, or is also called ovum. For one, ova, for more than one. So the ovary can release one egg or more than one egg. And when it releases the egg goes into the fallopian tube and stays. It goes into the fallopian tube. It doesn't go into the womb. The egg goes into the fallopian tube. That's where it stays. So that process of this ovary releasing egg is known as ovulation. So now that you know what is your first day of your cycle, your ovulation normally happens between 10 to 16 days of that your cycle. Remember that the first day of your cycle is the day your period started. So if your period started today and then you count from 10 days after that to the 16th day, then that's when you're likely to ovulate. Even though the average ovulation day is the 14th day of the cycle, but we'll have a range 10 to 16 days. That's when you ovulate. Some people do know when they ovulate. Some people can know because some of them, after ovulation, their temperature rises a bit, or their vaginal discharge will become more slimy, more watery, and slippery. So that would give them an idea that they have ovulated. But usually, ovulation happens between 10 and 16 days, and your first day is the day your period started. So if your period started today, you count 21st, 22nd, 23rd until the 10th day to the 16th day, then you'll be expecting to ovulate. But some people ovulate dead on the 14th day. So that's the process, ovulation. So that egg or ovum is released from here into the tube. All right? So let's leave that, ovulation. So let's go back to ejaculation so that we can make some sense. So ejaculation is the process whereby a man discharges semen from his organ. So the man introduces his organ through the vagina and then discharges the semen, and then the sperm, I will explain semen and sperm, the sperm will now swim through this uterus and go into the tube and go and meet the egg, where the egg that has been released by the ovary. So the semen will be released by the penis, and then the sperm will swim and swim and swim and swim and get to the tube and go and meet the egg. So the process of the semen or the sperm meeting with the egg to form a zygote, to form a baby, is what we know as, what is referred to as fertilization. Fertilization is that process whereby that sperm meets with the egg that has been released through ovulation to form a zygote. Zygote is the gamete that later develops into a baby. So that process is called fertilization. I hope I'm making sense. So what is semen and what is sperm? They are not interchangeable. Some people think they are the same. The liquid that the man discharges is semen, and that semen contains sperm, along other components like fluid from your prostate. Men, when you hear people have prostate cancer, so that organ that is called prostate also produces prostatic fluid that joins with the sperm along and other fluids produced by seminal vesicles and other things. So what the man discharges is actually called semen. In fact, the sperm in a semen is maybe 5%, but it's actually the sperm that fertilizes the egg. But all this other fluid help to lubricate it, help it to move faster and swim to go and get the target, which is the egg. So that is semen and sperm. The semen is that liquid the man discharges after ejaculation, and the semen contains sperm known as spermatozoa, along with other fluid, including prostatic fluid, some enzymes, and some other things that help the sperm to get to its target, to meet the egg and fertilize. Right. So after fertilization, there's another term we need to know about, which is known as implantation. So fertilization, like you can see from what I've said, takes place in this tube. That's where the baby is formed, either the left tube or the right tube. The babies are not usually formed in both tubes because is one ovary that releases egg per month. So sometimes one ovary can release more than one egg. That's why you do have twins and triplets and all that. So the baby stays in this tube, but this tube is not made for housing a baby. It is only made for fertilization. So what it means is that baby that was formed here would have to find its way into the tube. So, and this normally takes place within 8 to 9 days after the baby has been formed, but an average of 10 to 16 days. So that baby that was formed in the tube will have to go down into the womb and get attached to the womb. The process of this baby attaching to the womb is called implantation. So that baby will not have to stay in the womb and develop over 9 months until the baby is delivered. Do you understand? So let me recap. I think I have. This is what I'm holding in my hand is what every woman has inside her, from the vagina to the womb. The cervix is the opening into the womb, the neck of the womb, and then from the womb you can see the two tubes. At the tip of the two tubes, you see the. Let me recap. I think I have. This is what I'm holding in my hand is what every woman has inside her, from the vagina to the womb. The cervix is the opening into the womb, the neck of the womb, and then from the womb you can see the two tubes. At the tip of the two tubes, you see the ovaries, left and right. So if your ovary is viable, between 10 to 16 days of every month, one of them will release 1 egg, 2 eggs, 3 eggs, 4 eggs, as the case may be, and they will go into the tube, that fallopian tube, and wait. So, and the sperm, when there's intercourse, the sperm will come from the vagina and then swim through the womb into the tube and go there and meet the egg and form the baby, the zygote. And the zygote stays there, the baby stays there for a couple of days, maximum 2 weeks, and then it has to find its way into the womb and get implanted. Because the tubes are not suited for housing a baby. The tubes are only for fertilization. The tubes are not meant for the baby to stay and develop. That is why sometimes, for 1 or 2 reasons, if the baby does not go down to the womb to implant and stays there to develop, that is what some of you must have heard is referred to as ectopic pregnancy. So that means that baby is not in the womb, is developing in this tube. And obviously, because the tube is not suited to accommodate the baby, after a while, the tube will rupture, will burst. And that's when and cause what we call peritonitis. And that's when you have gynecological emergency that can kill. So I hope you understand the process. So normally, after the fertilization, that baby should go down by osmosis, by ciliary action, into the womb and get implanted into the wall there and stay there for 9 months. And then obviously, when the woman is in labor and is ready to deliver, is this cervix that opens up, it dilates up to 10 cm for the baby to come out. It's through here, through the cervix. So that's why, so if you have had a baby before, when you're in labor, they will say, oh, the cervix is 2 cm, it's 4 cm, it's not full. It's only, so full dilatation of this cervix is 10 cm. So when it's opened up to 10 cm, then the baby's head can come out. Do you understand what I'm saying? Am I making any sense at all? So I just want to make it simple for us to understand. So why, if I'm going to, anytime I'm going to discuss miscarriage, ectopic pregnancy, infertility, fibroids, or what have you, then this basic knowledge, how you have to have this basic knowledge of how the female reproductive system is. Very simple. Do you understand? So when some of the reasons why some women are not able to have babies is maybe because their ovaries are not working, the ovaries are not releasing eggs, or even if they are releasing, maybe something is blocking something is blocking the tubes that the eggs are not getting to where the sperm can get them, or maybe there's something blocking the sperm from getting to where the egg is, or some people don't even have ovaries at all. So we'll talk about infertility at some point, but if you understand this, then you'll be able to understand why a woman is not menstruating, why a woman is not having babies, or why fibroid is causing bleeding, or why someone has miscarriage. When they're having miscarriage, what is happening in the womb. Do you understand? We'll talk about all those things in the near future. So this is the basic science of female reproductive system. That your biology teacher didn't teach you very well, that I decided to break it down. And I'm sure that everybody here understands what I've just said. If anyone didn't understand, let the person feel free to ask question. I don't want to stay too long, because I've noticed that if I stay too long and say so many things, people get confused and forget what I have spent time to teach. You know what I mean? There are sometimes people that watch the video will be asking some questions about something in future, and you'll be thinking, oh my God. So all these 2 hours that I spent talking about this, nothing filtered. Do you understand? So I'm tired, I'm going to sleep now, after now, because I've worked all through the week. But I just had to do this, and hopefully I've been able to make some sense. At least if you hear ectopic pregnancy, you know what that means immediately. You know that that baby didn't get into the womb to implant for one reason or the other. So you're going to understand why the tube is, you can see how big the uterus is. You can see how narrow the tubes are. So obviously a baby that is growing there will not make it, because obviously it's going to outgrow the size of that tube, and the tube will just rupture. And then that's an emergency that can kill. That's why ectopic pregnancy is very dangerous, So, and then when you have fibroid, usually fibroid is inside the womb or on top of the muscles of the womb. I will discuss that with time, yeah? Okay, so I will just, I'm still showing this for you to understand how you are if you're a woman. So that's it. From the vagina to the cervix, to the womb, to the tubes. Very simple, very, very simple. Okay, so I'm going to have a look and see whether there are questions. I don't think there will be questions, but I'll still have a look and see. This one that Bethany is watching today, the world will soon come to an end. Let me see. Thank you, Destiny. Let me see. We have questions. Look, after now, I'm heading to my bed. Probably have a glass of champagne and then go to my bed. I'm tired. Right. So, no questions so far. So I just want to make common sense. Let me see.